And I'll just pass on to Sister Sabika for today's session.
Fabulous. Thank you, Musarat. Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, beautiful souls. We are very blessed that you have joined us in this afternoon and you've taken out this time to be with us. So thank you, Musarat, for the introduction and for everything that you shared with us. So I did just want to say, if you haven't already, grab yourself a notebook, a drink, if you need to keep yourself energized and refreshed. I do encourage, I don't know why that word was so difficult to find. I do encourage you to take notes because it means that you can reflect back on it later when you need to. And also give yourself a pseudo name if you wish to, i.e. change your name to Twinkle Toes, Sparkle Stars, whatever you want, just because I do call out names during the event. So if you want to stay anonymous, if you want to stay in your confidence, then feel free to change your name. It is going to be recorded and put onto YouTube. So that's us just trying to help you to feel comfortable. So don't be scared if I do shout out your name. Okay, and also if you have any questions, Mustarat, I'm putting you on the spot here. This isn't something that I mentioned to you before. If anybody in the audience has any questions and they would like to keep that confidential, then please message Musarat, private message her, and then she can anonymously read out the question, and then we can hit that when it comes to the question time, if that's okay. So great. Okay, so please share 2 things with us, just to welcome you, to get you comfortable in this space, connected with us. So in the chat, please share 2 things with us. The first one being, what are you most excited about for spring arriving, because spring is arriving very soon, around the corner. So share with us, what are you most excited about? And also where you're connecting in from in the world. So I know that Iqra Library does hit different places around the world. So it's lovely for Iqra to know where you are connecting in from, and for me to know where I'm energetically and vibrationally going today. So yeah, 2 things. What are you most looking forward to about spring? And where are you connecting in from? So for me, what I'm most looking forward to about spring is picnics, and also something very weird. The orange of my eyelids. So whenever the sun shines, if I close my eyes, my eyelids go orange, and I'm sure I'm not alone there. So yeah, let me know in the chat. Musarat, what are you excited about spring?
Just going out, spending time with nature, isn't it?
Yep.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, today in UK, it's lovely. So it's just the sunshine.
Yes, it is. Yeah, the sun. Ghazala said downtime with the family. She's joining in from Singapore. Wonderful. Spending as much time as possible outdoors with my kids. Yes, and not spring cleaning. Yeah, I think we just clean all year round anyway. Flowers, and I'm from the UK. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. Emma, sunnier days. Yes, getting all that much needed vitamin D in that we really need for ourselves. Fantastic. Okay, so just make sure that you're sitting comfortably for this session. It is an hour and a half. Do what you need for yourself to get comfortable. If you need to get a cushion and wedge it under your legs, do that. This is you giving yourself the time. Okay, time is precious. You've taken out this time to be here with us, and for that we are very, very thankful. I do need to put a trigger warning out and just remind you that some of the content that is shared today, or that may come up for you naturally, is going to be heavy content. Okay, so if you feel that you need to take a break away from the screen, nobody yet has their screens on anyway. So if you feel that you need to just move your eyes from the screen, do that to take care of yourself. If you feel that you need to cry, emotional, powerful tears, then cry. Okay, if you feel like you need to go and smash a plate, then do so safely. Come back and know that you are welcomed and you're in a safe space with us. Okay, brilliant. We've had a couple more people join in. Emma is joining us from Cambridge. Lovely, wonderful. Okay, so I will introduce myself. My name is Sabika. And I have 3 beautiful children. I live in the UK, in the West Midlands, and we have a couple of UK people here today with us. I am a reparenting coach and speaker, and I connect with mamas one-to-one. I coach mamas one-to-one that are struggling to connect deeply with their children because they know that their own childhood challenges are holding them back. Okay, so I've got 16 plus years working with children, an MSc in psychology, and I use modalities like the Enneagram, somatics, and other holistic modalities to guide mamas that are sitting with us today to get you to a place where you are thriving, not just surviving. And I know we've got people that have joined in today that are not just mamas. There is lots of benefit in this, okay? It's just that I coach mamas specifically one-to-one at the moment. Fantastic. So you are very welcome here. There is lots for you to learn, lots for all of us to grow from. I will now share screen if possible. Masara, did you give me permission?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So I will have slides up. I'm hoping that I can still see you and connect with you. But Masarat, I'm going to ask you if anybody has a hand raised or anything they need, then just keep an eye out. Okay, sorry. My laptop is very weird. From the beginning. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm going to have to share it like this because I don't know what's happening there. Can you all see the screen anyway?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great, that's fine. Okay, so I will go through the agenda. I will do a session introduction, talking to you about why I'm bringing you these lessons of reparenting. There will be 3 lessons for today. I didn't want to bog you down with any more. So there's only 3 lessons, okay? And they will have interactive and reflective segments at the end of each one. I will show you a FAQ page, a frequently asked question page of what clients ask me during a discovery call questions. And we will have question time for I think about 10-15 minutes hopefully, and it's going to be the time where you can get your questions answered, okay? And so if you have any questions that come up for you, then please jot them down or put them in the chat. Musarat will keep an eye on it for you, and if there's any questions you want to ask in confidence, then please message her and just let her know that you want to ask in confidence, not to mention your name, and she can do that too. Okay, I want you to get the answers that you need from the session today. Okay, brilliant. So the aims of this session is that, number 1, you will have one key area that you can work on, and that connects to triggers, okay? Number 2 is that you will know yourself a little bit more, because we all love doing that, okay? And number 3, you will have one individual actionable takeaway that is going to be scheduled in, okay? I'm going to repeat that. That is going to be scheduled in, okay? So in the chat, I'm going to ask you to be very quick with this. Let's test you. Let's put a little quiz out. So in the chat, let me know, what does reparenting mean? Bonus prize for whoever tells me which chakra, there's 7 chakras, which chakra the inner child connects to, and what is the inner child, okay? So you can either answer all 3, you can answer 1, you can answer the bonus one. Go for it. I know Masarad's thinking about it. Yep, it's okay. Hedri says, meeting your unmet childhood needs. Yep, reparenting, conscious parenting. Yep, thank you, Sayed Hussein. Fantastic. What is the inner child? Sakina, healing inner child wounds, solar plexus. Okay, so out of the 7 chakras, the inner child usually sits in the root chakra, and that's the one right at the bottom. So that is basically the basic needs. Okay, so childhood wounds are all about acceptance, and the root chakra is all about acceptance. Well done, you guys are on fire. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so the introduction to this session. So I am not a parenting expert, okay? So quite often people might confuse reparenting with parenting. I'm not a parenting expert, okay? I'm trying to figure out my kids as we go along, day by day, as you guys are, okay? So put your hand up digitally, physically, however wise, okay? If you have watched a video on parenting, read books on parenting, read a blog on parenting, by show of hands. We all have, yeah? Most of us would have done so, okay? Whether it's 1, 10, 15, 20, however much of an avid reader you are, okay? No matter how much we read, there is no manual to parenting. And I think we all agree with that, okay? None of our kids were born with a manual, yeah? And reading so many books and so many blogs can help us, because we can pick up a skill or two, or we can pick up a method that we can try and it can work. But quite often it really confuses us because there's so much out there, okay? So what I can say I am an expert in is in believing that reparenting works and the benefits of reparenting, okay? And like Masara said, I'm absolutely passionate about this because I know how much it works, okay? Reparenting is the one powerful thing that is going to untangle your thoughts and doubts, okay? And especially as a mum, we want to release what no longer helps us. Give me 2 seconds, please. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we want to release what no longer helps us rather than making it more confusing, okay? Quite often what happens is we get stuck in survival mode. So as a child, when your needs were not met, for example, your needs of being loved were not met, you get stuck in that mode, okay? And you're still stuck in that mode and you still use those thoughts. So for example, I need to be helpful, to be loved and appreciated, i.e. being a people pleaser. So in childhood, you might have learned that you need to be helpful to be loved, okay? That was survival mode for you. Some of us are still stuck in that survival mode, and that's what people call as people pleasers, right? So reparenting gives ourselves what we need. It releases us from that survival mode in that particular area. So why do we need to reparent? Because it means that when we're sitting with our children, it puts ourselves in the background, okay? It puts our needs in the background so we can sit with our children and fulfill their needs in that moment. So it means that we can be a blank slate for them, okay? So I have lived the benefits of reparenting. I guide mamas only on things that I have used and I know that they work because I've experienced it, right? And I share things and tools that have years of research and years of research and expert people behind them in that field, okay? So I've been in a place where I've thrown chairs in front of my children, okay? And I've cried myself to sleep for years because I had lost myself and I knew I was there somewhere, but I didn't know where, okay? And I've made people turn away from me in confusion because I was confused about what it is exactly I needed and what my needs were and I couldn't identify them. And since I started embarking on that journey of reparenting, I've grown to a place where I can sleep content, because I know my children will turn to me when they need help rather than fear me. And now people, friends, family reach out to me and ask me, what is it that I need? What is it that I need? What help do I need? Because I radiate that energy and I verbally ask for it. I ask for that help. Okay. And I'm blessed to be busy and to be serving others because I'm fulfilling my own needs, because I'm giving of my surplus, and there's no resentment. Okay. There's no resentment to help. So the reason why I'm bringing you these lessons is that because I want you to learn. Okay. I want you to learn and grow from me and from others that have done it before, rather than figuring it out for yourself. Okay. So if you would like to know more about my story and how I have grown in terms of reparenting, then we will be putting out, I will put out my TEDx link video at the end of the session. So you can just follow that and have a look at that. Okay, so without further ado, stretch it out, shake it up, let's get ready. All right, so we've got 3 lessons. This is the first lesson. Okay, lesson number 1. The content does start slightly heavier and then it gets less. So don't be scared of this lesson number 1. All right. So my children are direct triggers for me. Okay. So what are triggers? Everyone has triggers. Okay. We all have traumas and wounds. So if you've come to this session not sure about whether you've got a trauma or wound, you do. Okay. We all have them. And the reason why I know we all have them is because we all have something that we want to grow on. Okay. And that's why you're here with me today. A trigger might be a smell. It might be a word. It might be a name, a place. It might be food. It might be an experience. Okay. So the trigger itself brings forward something that you individually, as Emma or as Fatima or as Gigi or as Ruby, need to reparent on. Okay, so it's an individual thing. It's going to affect you individually. It's an unresolved need in you. Triggers often make us pause when they happen. They make us startle. They make us feel really heavy in our bodies. Makes us feel like we might want to mentally explode. We feel numb. We are confused. We might disassociate. You might feel tense in your shoulders. Okay, it makes you inevitably feel like a small child. Okay, you revert back to that small child and you want to hide from the world, just like you would have done as a child. Okay, so the only issue is that we as adults tend to ignore these triggers, okay? And we just shove it under the carpet and we get on with life, okay? Don't do that, because triggers are good, okay? Please don't ignore them, because they are the ultimate jigsaw pieces of your individual puzzle. So trauma experts identify that, especially in childhood, difficult events and experiences are fragmented like puzzle pieces into our subconscious mind. And the reason why they get fragmented and they break up as puzzle pieces is because they are too difficult and hurtful for our brain to want to even acknowledge. Okay, so our brain is super clever, amazing. It fragments it because it's too hard and too difficult and traumatizing for it to hold on to it as one whole piece, as an event. Okay, so our brain does that to protect us. So what triggers do is that they bring back those pieces of the puzzle together. Okay, so for example, my own experience of my trigger warning, my own experience of my brother getting shot when I was 7 was a traumatic experience, of course. And it's something that we did talk about, but it wasn't talked about often. And because it was so traumatizing for me, my brain naturally fragmented it and put it into my subconscious. So I went about life without even remembering that this is the cause of so many difficulties in my life, right? So it's only when I met somebody that said his brother got shot, I felt all of those emotions. My body went numb. I was confused. I was triggered. And that's when I remembered, my brother got shot. And that's why I feel like this. Okay. So triggers are keys to understanding our needs. Okay. And being a mama, and I'm speaking specifically to mamas here, and I know we might not have mamas joining us. You might not all be mamas, but still take this from this session, okay? This is amazing learning for you. Being a mama, you are in the lair of triggers, okay? Literally, you're in the lair of triggers. You are absolutely blessed, though it's incredibly hard. You are so blessed because this is where your unfulfilled needs are going to be triggered. They're triggered by your children, and it might not be all children. It might be one specific child. It might be specific things in your children, okay? It might not be all of them as a whole. Your child awakens the needs of little you, okay? So you might have one specific child that awakens the needs of Zahra. You might have one specific child that awakens the needs of little Sana or little Sakina, okay? So there's little you still has needs that are unmet. Your child is going to trigger those needs for you, okay? Now I'm going to briefly talk about attachment theory, very briefly, not too much content. And it's probably things that you already know anyway, so this is just a reminder for you, okay? So children, all children want is attachment and safety. Yeah, we all know that, i.e. lots of hugs, one-to-one time, somebody that's there to listen to them and not on their phone constantly, okay? And in childhood, those needs of ours weren't met for whatever reason, okay? I don't need to go into the reasons, but our parents found, I suppose our parents found it quite difficult to parent each of the siblings very individually, okay? And of course, there's a number of different reasons why those needs of yours may not have been met, okay? So when those needs are not met, we feel detached and unsafe, right? From the parent carer, though you might not like to admit it, but naturally that's what happens, okay? That detachment and that not feeling safe becomes a trauma, okay? You might have amazingly wonderful parents, I do, alhamdulillah, but you can still have traumas and wounds, okay? Because we all know that parenting is the hardest thing to ever do, okay? We're trying our best, okay? But little brains are so immensely clever that what happened was when we were children, we didn't want to feel detached and unsafe. We want to feel attached and safe, right? So instead of putting out that need, because we know it's not going to get met, we bury it. We bury that need, believing, oh, that's not good because it's not going to get us what we need. I don't want to feel unsafe, so I'm going to bury it. I don't want to feel hurt and rejected when those needs are not met, so I'm going to bury it, okay? And what we learn to do instead to get that attachment and safety, because that's the ultimate aim, is to do something else that we know works, okay? So I'm going to use this example again because it comes up in most of us, okay? So for example, pleasing others and doing for others to get love and appreciation and acceptance, okay? So in childhood, we may have realized getting a hug is not what our parents are going to give us, even though that it's a need. It's not going to work, so I'm going to bury it. And actually they tend to praise the other siblings that help out, so I'm going to do that instead. Okay, so the need to be hugged gets buried, and the people pleasing raises in us. Okay, so the natural need gets buried. Okay, because all we want is to feel attached and safe. Pleasing means we get the praise, we feel attached, we feel safe. Okay, hope that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up digitally, virtually, physically, however you want to do. Give me a star, give me a heart, give me something that shows me that we're on the same page and that makes sense. Thank you, Batul. I love that heart. Thank you, Sukaina. Is that a hand raised? Brilliant. Thank you, Gigi. Thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, great. I love it. I love that we're on the same page and this is making sense to you. Okay, so that's how, in a nutshell, how our natural needs become unmet. And that's how we lose ourselves and the person that we were born to be, because our natural things that we want are buried. Okay, so triggers are good. Somebody write that in the chat for me. Triggers are good. Thank you. I love these hearts. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Sana. Thumbs up. Yeah, somebody write in the chat for me. Triggers are good. Okay, our kids trigger our unmet needs. Thank you, Zahra. Our kids trigger our unmet needs. Okay, so I'm going to give you two examples of my own because we love examples and it means that we can relate to each other. So I have an 8-year-old son, and he's my eldest. He's just turned 8. I feel like I need to take a breath for this. He uses this squeaky voice. Okay, this squeaky voice that he uses from time to time really irritated me repeatedly. He would do it. Okay, and it really beep me off. I have to do that. So whenever he used to do it, I used to get those feelings in my body, the heart palpitations. I used to freeze. I used to feel like I was in survival mode. Okay, so I decided, as I am reparenting, and remember, reparenting is a journey. Okay, so we're going to be reparenting ourselves forever. It's a lifelong journey, just like spiritual development is a lifelong journey. Okay, you can't all of a sudden become an expert in it. It's a process. Okay, so I decided to flip it, which I love to do. Okay, I became curious with myself. Yeah, I asked myself, did I do that when I was a child? Do I still do that? Yeah, I do. Okay, I do that. Raise your hand physically, virtually, otherwise give me a star, something in the chat or on your screen to admit if you do that sometimes. Does your voice sometimes go a bit high-pitched when you're feeling anxious about what to say, or you're nervous, like hello, kind of squeaky voice? Because that happens with me. Okay, so I noticed in myself that my voice goes a bit more high-pitched when I'm feeling weird or anxious about what to say. Thank you, Sana. She has her hand raised. Yeah, that happens to me. So as I'm reparenting, I told myself it's okay for me to do that. Okay, I've acknowledged it. I've spotted it. It's okay for me to have a squeaky voice if I feel anxious or nervous about saying something. Okay, so long as it doesn't stop me from saying what I need to say. Okay, so long as it doesn't stop me from saying what I need to say. I can have a squeaky voice. It doesn't matter. Okay, so what happened was this led onto a conversation with my son, and he did say he felt nervous. So whenever he used that squeaky voice, he traced it back to his own feelings, and he said, yeah, I feel nervous about what I'm going to say, and that's why I have that squeaky voice. So by me reparenting myself, I saw it in me. Okay, My son triggered it. I reparented. I saw it in myself. It was something that irritated me, and it was something that I needed to work on. That's why it was irritating me. Okay. So now I can support him in a compassionate way. Okay. So I hope that example made sense. I'm going to share another one just in case it didn't. So I also have, I've got 3 kids. My youngest is 5.5-ish. And this is something that has really triggered me for a long time. And I think this was a hard thing to reparent myself on, because I didn't see it in myself. And this is what happens. We tend to not see it in ourselves. We tend to see the fault and the annoyingness with the child when it's not the child and their behavior. It's in us. Okay. We need to flip it. So my daughter, she never wants to do anything by herself. Okay. Nothing. Like literally natiche, niente, nothing. Zilch, zero, nothing. Everything she does, she says, I need your help. Okay. So it literally became the bane of my life. And as you can imagine, of course, I was triggered by it. So let me know in the chat if you have a child like this. Send me an emoji of some sort. How do you feel when you're triggered? How do you feel when they're doing this and they keep asking for help again and again and again for something that you know they've literally done the day before by themselves? Okay, send me an emoji. Thank you, Sana. Yes, that's exactly how I felt. Yes, Ruby, brilliant. Yep, amazing. It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. It's easier to say it's them. Okay, it's easier to say it's them. Thank you, Zahra. Than it is us. Yes, Farah, tears. I'm sure I've cried as well. So I was a very independent child. Okay. I learned to do everything for myself, everything. So I used to say to myself, why doesn't she do this? I know she can do it. And she should. But should she? Should she really be doing the things that I was expecting of her? Not really. So I flipped it to myself. I used reparenting and I got curious. I love that word, curious. Okay. When you're curious, like children are curious, they want to know, they question, and they want to know more. I was curious. I asked myself, because I know that I'm chronically independent. Okay. I asked myself, do I still need to be chronically independent? Raise your hand if you feel like you're a chronically independent person. Okay, admit that to yourself, because when you admit it, you spot it, you got it, you can grow. Okay, so do I still need to be a chronically independent person? No. Okay, should I ask for help and delegate? Yes. Okay, will it make my life easier? Yes. Will being stressful and being chronically independent give me any trophies or any medals? I think you can all answer that for me. No. Okay, none of us have got trophies or medals or plaques to say, well done, you're stressed, well done, you're chronically independent. Okay, we never get them. So what I learned was, in childhood, we don't get more love and appreciation from being chronically independent. Okay, because from childhood, that's what I had learned. I had learned that if I do things for myself, then I'll get appreciated. People will say, oh, well done. My mum will say, well done, you did that, amazing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this more. I'm going to be more and more independent and do things for myself, because that will show me love, appreciation, acceptance, attachment. And I did that from childhood. But what I've now learned is, no, being chronically independent isn't going to help. I should ask for help. I should ask people, do you know where I can get this, rather than sitting on Google for 3 hours and waste my time, because we don't have time to waste, do we, Musarat? No, we don't. So now I can compassionately connect with her, and I can be compassionate when she asks for help. Okay, I can encourage her to be independent when necessary, and then talk about it with her and help her to understand why it's important to be independent. Okay. But then also help her and then talk about that with her and say why it's important to also ask for help. Okay. Balance is key. Okay. And tailoring it to her individual personality. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So I have got a little activity for you, and because I know that this first lesson has been a little bit content heavy and I've been talking a lot, I want to give you a little bit of a break. So I'm going to give you a 3-minute break. And while you're having that 3-minute break, I would like you to reflect on what really irritates you. Okay. What irritates you as an individual person, as Yusha, as Sakina, as Gigi, as Patul, as Sana? What individually irritates you with one specific child? Okay, so choose one and choose one thing that irritates you. What is it that child XYZ does? And jot it down. Okay, because when you spot it, then you got it. And think about, if you can't think of the trigger, then think about what it does to you. Okay, so think about that, how it makes you pause, or how it makes your head feel heavy, or the pressure builds up inside of you. Okay, so what is it that one child of yours does, and jot it down. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes, so until 2:14. I am going to go off screen, but I will be reading through the chat and I'll reply to your messages in the chat. So have 3 minutes, come back at 2:14, reflect on what it is that you get triggered by. One child, one thing. Okay, and why I say one is because it's manageable. You got it, you can work with it. Okay, go. So in this situation.
Why should she?
Fantastic. Okay, so I welcome you back. I know it was just a short break and wasn't very long, but sometimes that's necessary to just take a breather for yourself. How was that reflection time for you? Let me know by way of an emoji, or even in the chat, let me know by words. How did you feel in reflecting? Was it helpful to you? Did it mean that you can spot something and then grow with it? So usually what I would do is, and I know some of you have written in the chat, yeah, Zahra rolling eyes. It's when I ask something that I know I've consciously thought about, yeah. Not keeping a distance with other kids, yeah. Yeah, and I can see some direct messages, but I wouldn't be able to reply to them at this moment in time. Michelle says, I don't have children, but reflecting on her childhood, not being listened to makes me not want to communicate at all. Yeah, Michelle, let me know how was that reflection process for you? Just giving that time to yourself to bring that up for yourself. Now you know that not being listened to makes you not want to communicate at all. What is it that you can connect to your inner child and say to them? Okay, so there's a couple of messages here. So if I was working one-to-one with you, then I would be able to probe you on what you've shared, okay? And I'm so thankful for you that you feel that this is a safe space, that you can share your reflections, and I feel blessed that you are able to do that, okay? But during a one-to-one session, I would be able to use powerful questions and guide you on how to reparent yourself. And of course, it would mean that we had more time to delve deeper, okay? So, but to summarize in terms of lesson number 1, children are a mirror to us, okay? It might just be one of them, or it might just be one thing in each of them, perhaps. Triggers allow us to assess, question, and get curious, okay? They direct us to what is going on inside with our inner child, okay? We replay our childhood through our children because quite often we get stuck in survival mode that I've mentioned before in that specific area. And until we resolve those things within us, those unmet needs, we get stuck there. And that's why our children, our specific children, were gifted to us because God knew that they were going to trigger that within you. Okay. They are your gift to your healing and to your reparenting. Okay, so reparenting is all about rewriting your story. Okay, it's about you telling yourself, I am still loved if I'm not chronically independent. Okay, if I ask for help, I'm still loved. I am still loved if I am, and I am still clever, even if I say something silly. Okay, so children are direct triggers for you. They are a blessing to your healing and to your reparenting. But I did want to mention that reparenting does not mean that behaviors that you don't like stop, okay? They carry on, but the annoyance that you have towards them reduces because the triggers reduce, because you would be healing what is inside of you, okay? The unmet needs reduce. So the behaviors may not stop, but how you parent your children appropriately will come out of reparenting, okay? So your annoyance towards those behaviors reduces, okay? So it's about compassionately understanding why our kids do what they do, because we likely did that as a child, okay? And it actually makes you connect closer specifically with that child because they are living something that you lived, and you know how that hurts, you know how that rejection feels, okay? So, brilliant. All right, so I'm going to ask you to wave your hand, wave 2 hands, wave your hands in a circle, just to get yourself moving and ready for the next lesson. Okay, so I am letting you know that the next 2 are going to be slightly less heavier. This one was quite heavy in content. So lesson number 2, my relationship with myself comes in layers. Okay, so how we are with ourselves what our self-talk is, stems from how we were parented, how we grew up in the world, and the experiences that we had, okay? There's certain things that I learned to do and to also not do to feel safe and attached. There's some things that are in us, in me, that get hidden away, that are rejected or denied. And if any of you are doing spiritual work or studying any spiritual practices, this is the shadow self. So give me a whoop whoop if you have heard of the shadow self and you know what that is, okay? So inner relationship focusing stems from psychotherapeutic somatic practices, okay? So that's a lot of words that you may not need to know right now, okay? But it's all about being gentle with yourself, okay? It's allowing, it's accepting all parts of our inner self, even if it might be seen as bad, okay? So it's all about feeling those things in your body that essentially are hidden from us because we fear them. We fear bringing it up. And quite often, what happens and what we see is that words are limiting, okay? We're unable to express words. And that's where the term speechless came from, I guess. So it's about feeling it in your body. Sometimes those answers come up in your body and they wouldn't come up in your words, okay? So Peter Levine, who's an expert in somatic modalities, talks about something called felt sense, and you'll see this on the slide, okay? So Peter Levine, he talks about something called felt sense. Now, felt sense is all about the physical experience rather than the cognitive one, okay? Physically feeling it rather than thinking it in our brains and verbalizing it. It's about building love, trust, appreciation, acceptance of all feelings without shame, okay? Because if we feel shame, then we won't express it and we won't feel it. So an example that I can give you is that a while ago, I would hold back from hugging one of my daughters. I've got two daughters. I would hold back from hugging one of my daughters. And eventually I realized it's because my inner child felt jealous because she didn't receive the hugs that she needed. So I used reparenting and I didn't label the feeling of jealousy as bad, okay? It's just a feeling. It's a feeling to work with. All emotions are a gift for us. They're not good, they're not bad, they're not positive, they're not negative. They're blessings, they're gifts, okay? When we work with our inner relationship, the inner child feels safe, and it's all about safety, remember, with children. She feels safe, little you, little Yusha, little Sakina, little Farah, little Masuma, little Azra will feel safe enough to communicate her needs clearly when she works on her inner relationship, okay? So, yeah, she feels safe to communicate what she needs, okay? So with practice, we learn, we can fulfill our needs, we can ask for help, okay? When we know about ourselves, we can then ask for help, and others don't need to read our minds because it's impossible, okay? And they don't need to presume, we can just say it, okay? So sadly, I won't be able to go too deep, I won't be able to get into deep inner relationship focusing during this session, okay? But I wanted to relay to you how important it is to understand the deepness of your traumas and the deepness of your unmet needs because they sit in your body, okay? So that's deep inner relationship work. But because I wanted to get you started up and I want to make this of value to you, I want you to be able to take something away, okay? I wanted to get you started up. So fulfilling your basic needs allows you to connect deeper, okay? It allows you to connect on a deeper level. This is us working on our inner relationship on a surface level, okay? Now remember the relationship that you have with yourself comes in layers. You might be an extrovert, you might be an introvert, an ambivert. You might like rice, you might like couscous, you might like meat, you might not like meat, but you still eat it. You might like hugs, you might like gifts, you might appreciate time spent with you, okay? Now you might think that this is a tiny bit frivolous to understand those surface level needs, okay? But when you know yourself on a surface level, you can get to know yourself on a deeper level, okay? You can zone in, you can feel yourself, and you know what your needs are, okay? When you know what your needs are, then it allows you to get deeper in yourself. It's like getting to know a new friend or an acquaintance or a colleague. You can't expect to know and understand them on a deeper level until you've got the formality kind of questions out of the way, okay? The more time you spend with them, the more you will be able to get deeper into those questions, the more you will know them on an intimate way, okay? So I've got a little activity for you because I wanted you to know yourself a little bit more, okay, on a surface level. Now, where you take that and how you take that onto a deeper level will be how you work with this surface level stuff, okay? It's layers. The relationship we have with ourselves comes off in layers, okay? Just like I showed you with the Russian doll. It's literally that, it's layers. If you want to know yourself more, you've got to start from the outwards and go in, okay? So I've got so I work with, when I'm coaching, I use the Enneagram, which is a amazing, powerful self-development tool. And if you don't know about it, then watch my TEDx video. I will give you the link at the end, or follow me on Instagram and you'll see it in the highlights. There's some information there about Enneagram. So I use the Enneagram, I use somatic, I use the Enneagram, I use attachment style quizzes, I use love languages while I'm coaching with you to understand yourself more, okay? So what I've done is, because I can't bring you all of those quizzes, what I've done is I've picked bits from each of those, and I've picked bits from each of those, and we're going to go through them. So grab your pen and paper. I'm going to pick 3 from each one, okay? Because I don't want to run out of time for the last bits, okay? So this is a quiz for you to fill out. It's an Enneagram attachment style, love language kind of mishmash quiz, okay? So you're not going to receive any results at the end of this. And it's also not about labeling you. I'm not a labeling kind of person. It's just about you getting to know yourself better. I'm gifting you this pause to reflect on yourself and to know yourself more, okay? So I'm going to read out the questions that I'd like you to answer. Just jot down A, B, or if the question asks of you, then jot down true or false, okay? So thinking about your present life now, we'll go for the first one. Oh, what did I do? Sorry. Thinking about your present life now, are you romantic and imaginative, A, or are you B, pragmatic and down to earth? Now, this is all about having fun. This is all about you reflecting on yourself, enjoying this moment about understanding yourself. So are you A, romantic and imaginative, or are you B, pragmatic and down to earth? Are you A, focused and intense, or are you B, spontaneous and fun-loving? Okay, I know you lot are off screen, but I can see who's doing this. I can feel who's doing this questionnaire, okay? Are you focused and intense, or are you B, spontaneous and fun-loving? This is all about you reflecting on who you are as a person. It's the surface level stuff that's going to help you to go deeper. You can question yourself. Why am I more focused and intense? When was the last time I had fun? Okay, these are ways for you to get deeper into yourself. Are you A, when you've had conflict with others, have you tended to withdraw, or do you rarely back down? Okay, do you tend to withdraw when you feel conflict, or do you rarely back down? Okay, so with these ones, you're just answering true or false. Now remember, these are amalgamation of Enneagram, attachment style, and love language questions. Okay, so do you, true or false, do you often put other people in your life on a big pedestal? Partner, friends, family. True or false? Put other people on a big pedestal. Okay. Do you, true or false? I feel very upset when others infringe on my need for space or time alone. True or false? Infringe on my need for space or time alone. Now, if you're watching this on record on YouTube afterwards, please do take part, participate. We want you to be part of our circle and share the energy with us. So do take part in this quiz and jot these answers down for yourself. And you actually have the luxury of pausing the slides and going through the questions as well in your own time. So next question. I tend to be in touch with my emotions quite frequently. True or false? Sometimes emotions can be quite difficult to be in touch with. Okay, next one. I fear being alone. True or false? Now you can go back over these slides in the video when it comes up on YouTube and answer all of these questions and understand yourself more on a surface level. Okay, do you A or B? It's more meaningful to me when someone I love sends me a note, text for no special reason, or do you B, find it more meaningful when I hug someone I love? A or B? And just go with your gut answer here, because if you overthink it, then it doesn't tend to work. Okay, so it's more meaningful to me when A, someone I love gives me a little gift as a token of our love, or B, I get to spend uninterrupted leisure time with those I love. A or B? Okay, last one. It's more meaningful to me when A, someone I love surprises me with a gift, or B, someone I love reacts positively to something I have accomplished. Okay, so as I said, you are not going to get any results. Okay, this was just a moment for you to reflect on yourself and to know yourself on a surface level, just like that Russian doll was. Okay, if you would like to do the love languages question quiz by yourself, I am putting the link up for you. That's the link for the love language, specifically for love languages. Okay, so if you click on that link, then it will open another page for you, another page. So when you close down Zoom, that page will still be open. And if you would like to find out your Enneagram type or know more about the Enneagram, then that's something that I can only do one-to-one, and there isn't a link for that. As well as the attachment style quiz, you can Google it. There's lots of quizzes online that you can find, and it means that you will understand why you attach to certain people in certain ways, and that's of course stems from childhood. Okay, so that was just a short quiz. I thought it would be a bit fun. I thought it's a bit like reading your horoscope and just getting to know yourself a little bit more. Okay, so everybody have a little wiggle, because reflecting on ourselves can be quite heavy. Okay, so lesson number 3, and this is the last one. I am a mama and I have learnt to make time. Okay, I have learnt to make time. Okay, so mindset is key, absolutely key and foundational to reparenting. Okay, and I get a lot of mums saying, oh, I can't do it because I don't have the time. You do. Okay, I thought I didn't have the time, but I do. And I did. Okay, I saw my worth. I saw that I was worthy of my own time, and I saw that value in myself to put myself first, and I made that time. Okay, we make time for everyone else. If we see that worth in ourselves and we want to really grow, then we make that time. Okay, I learned that my primary energy needs to go to me. Okay, my surplus energy goes to others if they need it. Not everyone needs it. We offer it without them needing it. So only if they need it. I learned that my role isn't to save, fix, or rescue others, okay, including my kids. I'm here to guide them and to remind them. And of course, lots of other things come into that. But my main aim, my main role is to guide and to remind. There's a whole lot of reminding that happens, I'm sure you know. Okay. So my role is only to give a better me to my friends, my family, and my children. So if I want to be the best version of myself, then I need to do it for myself, put the time in, and then it means that I'm giving a better me to everybody else. Okay. You deserve a life where you are thriving, not just surviving. Okay. So Shahida, you deserve a life where you are thriving, not just surviving. Tayyiba, you deserve a life where you are thriving, not just surviving. Every single one of you do. Okay. God is there, Allah is there to look after your kids. He really is. Okay. Ever since I've learned to take that responsibility off myself, I have a lot more energy. Okay. He's there. Yeah, you're going to have to still do the cooking, the cleaning, the driving, then from school to clubs, but that's all physical energy. Okay. If you reparent yourself, you are energizing yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Think about it. When you've done something for yourself and you know you needed it, whether that's spiritually, mentally, whatever it is, you feel buzzed, like you feel so energized, right? It does energize you, and it doesn't exhaust you because you're not fighting against your inner being. Your inner being wants to grow. It wants to be that thing that it was born to be. Okay. Well, when you're fighting against it, then that's how you get exhausted. Okay. Physically, you can energize yourself. Okay. When you're spiritually, and mentally exhausted, you're physically going to be exhausted too. But when you're energized mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then it has an impact on your physical boost of energy as well. Okay. So your key takeaway from this lesson, and that is the end of that lesson nearly, is I can make the time to reparent myself. Okay. You really can. Yeah. So I've got a little activity for you. So my 3 things that have greatly helped me to make the time to reparent and put myself first are: number 1, the hour of power. Okay. Number 2 is having a power nap in the afternoon to recharge. And the third one is moment to pause. And if anybody knows me, I know I use the word pause a lot, okay? But this is a different way. So when I have my hour of power, it means that I wake up before my children. I wake up at 5:30. They wake up at 7. You can wake up at half an hour before. I call it an hour of power, okay? I wake up before my children. It consists of me having 3 glasses of lemon water with apple cider vinegar in there as well sometimes. It consists of me journaling, having a wiggle, listening to something spiritual, listening to something educational. It's me reading a book. It might be me exercising. I used to use my spin bike in the mornings, but now my roof has collapsed in my shed, so I can't do that anymore. I might learn something, okay? So the whole concept of it is to do something physically for your body, do something mentally, so you're learning, and do something spiritually good for yourself, so meditate or journal or something like that. So those 3 different areas. When I take an afternoon nap, I work from home, okay? So my bed is accessible whenever it needs to be. I don't take a nap every day. I used to, I don't anymore. I now only take it if I've had, for example, a rough night, because my youngest daughter likes to climb into my bed. So it means that I haven't had a good night's sleep, so I'll have a power nap. And the reason why I do that is because if I've had that power nap, 10 minutes, 20 minutes max, no more than that, it means that I'm ready for when the children come back with their after school, okay? I have that energy. So it's me giving myself that energy back, ready for when they come, okay? And the moment to pause is, for example, when I'm washing the dishes, when I'm driving the car, then I pause my unhelpful thoughts, okay, and direct it to my reparenting progress. So I stop and pause my unhelpful thoughts and direct it towards questions of reparenting that are curious and helpful. Why is it that I felt that when I met that person? Why is it that I felt that and that thought came up for me when I was in that place, when I experienced that thing? Okay, so it's curious questions while you're doing things which are kind of meaningful. Okay, so I usually say pause and drive, just drive, pause and wash, just wash the dishes and be in that moment. So there's 2 different things that you can do. You can either be in that moment, or you can make yourself understand certain things about reparenting, okay? Ask yourself curious questions rather than having silly thoughts. Thoughts are unhelpful, okay? So you can pause and be in that moment, using all of your senses, or you can actually ask yourself curious questions that are going to help you to understand yourself better and help you to understand your traumas and your triggers, okay? So what I'd like you to do is, first of all, send me something in the chat or on your screen so I know you're all still there, you're with me. And I'm going to ask you to choose one. What is one thing that you are going to do? One thing that you are going to do as of today. Is it going to be the hour of power? Are you going to wake up before your kids? Give yourself that time. Are you going to do the hour of power? Are you going to take an afternoon nap? Are you going to practice on the moment of pause? Okay, just choose one. Hour of power, afternoon nap, or are you going to do the moment of pause? And the reason why I say one is because if you try all 3, it's not going to work, okay? Choose one, be simple, it's manageable, okay? And when you're thinking, for example, you're going to do that hour of power, what will you do? Jot down, hour of power, what is it that you're going to do in that hour of power? What will you do? What book are you going to read? What exercise are you going to do? What time are you going to do it? What time are you going to wake up? What time do your kids wake up, for example? What are you going to do in that time? Okay. If you are thinking of having an afternoon nap, if you are a stay-at-home mum, for example, and your kids are with you, what are you going to do with your children while you're having that afternoon nap? Will you put the iPad on? Will you give them some coloring to do? What are you going to do that's manageable and it's going to, so that it works? Because if you don't think about these things, then they don't work. Okay. So what are you going to do? If If you work outside, for example, what can you do for yourself to have that afternoon nap so you can have energy for when your children come back? Is there a reflective, quiet space at work that you can go and put your head down for a few minutes? Do you have a car, for example? Go to your car, put something on your head if you're embarrassed, and just sleep for 10 minutes. Do what you need to do to get that thing in your life, okay? Because these things help you to have those moments. It helps you. These are things that help you to reparent and make that time, okay? If you're going to be doing the moment of pause, when are you going to do it? Schedule it in. Are you going to do it when you're driving back after dropping the kids from school? Are you going to do it when you're on the train while you're going to work? When are you going to pause your unnecessary thoughts so you can think about reparenting and ask curious questions for yourself? Okay. Jot it down. Okay. Yeah. Zainab said, let them watch TV. That's okay. Okay. Alia said, hour of power after kids go to bed. Yeah, perfect. So I do it before the kids go to bed. You can do it after the kids go to bed, if that's what works for you, okay? Because we are all individual people. We need to do what works for us. Listen to some spiritual content like a podcast. Yeah, fantastic. So it means that you're giving yourself that time, okay? Brilliant. Moment of pause, yeah. And if you take one and not all three, then it means that you can do it. So I want you to schedule it in. Grab your phones, grab your iPads, whatever you got next to you, even if it's just a pen and paper, schedule it in. When are you going to start? What is the date that you're going to start doing that? Put it in the chat. Let's get some accountability going. When are you going to start this hour of power, Alia? What is the date? Give me the date. What is the timings that you're going to be doing? Musarat, when are you going to take your moments of pause? Sakina is going to go to the pause cafe with a cup of tea. Zainab, what time are you going to take your nap? How long is it going to be for? Are you going to put an alarm to come out of it? Okay, so this is how we schedule things in. Okay, now lesson number three is, I'm a mama and I have learned to make time. This is how you make time for yourself. You schedule it in. Mamas are the most busiest people, but if you ever need to get something done, give it to a mum, okay? Because she has so much to do that slotting another thing in isn't hard work. For someone that has nothing to do, just doing that one thing is extremely hard because they're never going to get it done. If you want something done, give it to a mum, okay? Pause on my drive to school pickup. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so that summarizes our 3 lessons. Oops. Okay, so our aims for this session were, number 1, have one key area you can work on, and those are your triggers, okay? One child, one irritating thing. Some of you have shared in the chat. Some of you might have jotted it down. That's your one key area that you're going to work on, okay? You know what it is, you've spotted it, you've got it. You've got it, you've spotted it, you've got it, okay? Number 2, you know yourself a little more, okay? It might be on a surface level, think Russian doll, it might be on a surface level, but it means you can now go deeper with those things. Ask yourself curious questions. Why is it that you do those things, okay? And this is also what the Enneagram does. It brings out key motivations as to why you do certain things, okay? Number 3, the third aim was to have one individual actionable takeaway scheduled in, okay? Do you all have an actionable takeaway scheduled in? Please give me a thumbs up, a heart, a something that tells me this is scheduled in with a date and a time, okay? So the lessons that we've covered are, number 1, my children are direct triggers. Number 2, my relationship with myself comes in layers. And number 3, I'm a mama and I can make time for myself to reparent. Fantastic, brilliant. Thank you, Emma, for that thumbs up. Okay. So if you feel like you have reached those aims personally and covered those lessons for yourself, and that makes sense for you, and it's a session that you value, then let me know by way of an emoji. Okay, so I just quickly wanted to cover one of these questions, and these are normally questions that one-to-one clients normally ask me in discovery calls. Okay, so I just thought I'd bring these to you in case you have any of these questions before we go to our question section. So I'm going to go with this one, the middle one. What do reparenting sessions look like? So usually what happens is, first of all, everything is confidential. Anything you share with me, and this is something that does come up, anything you share with me professionally has to stay confidential. Okay, so even in the chat, if you've messaged me privately, I cannot share that with anyone on a professional level. Okay, unless I need to seek advice from one of my colleagues or from one of the experts, then I do what I need to do by keeping your name private, of course. Okay, so, and even if you see me on the street, see me in a shop, I can't then talk about it with you because that breaks the confidentiality. Okay, so what do reparenting sessions look like? Usually what happens is I give you the Enneagram form to fill out. It's a questionnaire. You will get that Enneagram form. Okay, you will get that form back with all of the results, and it's like a 46-page document or something like that. You keep it, you read through it, and I help to guide you through your coaching journey with the Enneagram. Okay, so I will know your type, I will know your core motivations, and I'll explain all of these things to you. We will have a debrief. If you have any questions, you come and ask me. And it means that the Enneagram unlocks core motivations, okay, as to why certain things were traumatizing for you in childhood and why they continue to be so in adulthood. Okay, so we will work with your current struggles, your current challenges, and your triggers, and your parenting and how you are parented will naturally come up. Okay, we will use somatic practices, and it's all about being in the body and releasing that from your nervous system, releasing limiting beliefs, working on your mindset, using breathing, exercising, using the concept of the self-hold. And you'll learn lots of different tools as to how you can reparent and continue reparenting. And of course, it means that it's going to be an individual path, okay? Because every single one of you are individual human beings, and you bring your own individual challenges. So until we connect and you tell me what those individual challenges are, I can't give you an individual journey until we connect and we put that journey together for you, okay? So if you would like to connect with me, whether that's for a discovery call, for a one-to-one, or if you want to ask me questions or you want to know more, please do contact me. Okay, my details are on the page. That's my email address on the left. Join me on Facebook and Instagram at Sabika Rezavi or the Reparenting Coach, and you'll find my details there. DM me, okay? I haven't been able to read everything that's in the chat. So if you have messaged me privately, then please do message me or email me, and it means that I can help you and guide you better. Okay, I'm here to serve you, and I want you to reparent yourself, because when you reparent yourself, it means that you can raise your children in the way that they individually need. Okay, so that is the session ended. I hope it has been helpful to you. I hope you've been able to take at least one. If you can take one thing away from this session for you to work on and to grow on, then it means that you've won and I've won. So I'm going to hand back over to Musarat for question time as well.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely session, really good practical tips in there. And I love the fact that you said we need to schedule in. It just gets you to action it more rather than later. Simple tips in there that we can do. It doesn't take a lot of time, but just practicing it more regularly. So thank you so much for that. If anybody does have any questions, please, you can unmute yourself or you can write to me in the chat or Sabika as well. And we can ask the question anonymously as well. If there's anything you would like to share or you think that you benefited from the session, please do share, or any questions as well.
So I'm just going back to some of the questions in the chat.
Yes. While you're reading those questions, the questions that you asked us where it was A or B, is it possible to have a bit of A and a bit of B?
Yes, of course. And it's the same thing as being an introvert and an extrovert. So some people can be introverts, some people can be extroverts, some people can be ambiverts. So it means it's a mix of both. Okay. And you can be, and of course it depends on the situation that you're in. Sometimes we're in different situations or experiences and it gives rise to certain things. Okay. Quite often what happens is when we're starting reparenting, well, when we become mamas especially, we lose ourselves. Okay, so we lose what it is that we actually want. Okay, so we might lean to both things or lean to everything really, because we've lost ourselves and we don't really know what we want. So don't take what you've answered in this question at face value. Dig into it deeper. Okay, so what I want you to do is now be curious with yourself and ask yourself, pick one of them. Like, for example, if you are an introvert or if you are an extrovert, when is it that you're more of an introvert? When is it that you're more of an extrovert? Why is it in those situations? Okay, so it's all about being curious and asking yourself those questions. If you pick A and B for both, if you like hugs, for example, if you like one-to-one time, but then you also like gifts, okay, it's okay. But what instance are you more a gift person, and in what instance are you more of a hug person? When you know that, then you know when to ask for what. Okay, so for example, if your partner or a loved one has gone away on holiday and you've really missed them, yeah, you really miss them, if they come back and they give you a gift souvenir and they don't give you a hug, it might not fulfill what you needed because you needed the hug more than the gift. Okay, but if you feel that in that moment, you can then just ask for it. Say, can I have a hug, please? And that's it. Yeah, so when you know, when you feel what, then it means that you can direct your needs accordingly. And that's what reparenting is all about. It's expressing what we feel that we need, okay, rather than presuming that other people need it.
Is that the same thing with the love language? Is it obviously with the love languages, can you be a bit of both as well? Or is it usually,
Yeah, so usually the gifts and the one-to-one time and the people appreciating, that's love languages.
Okay.
So one is usually, and if you do I'll send it in the chat again, if you do the quiz, which I will put in the chat one more time, if you do the quiz, you will get one that is the highest ranking. Okay, so that's the one that you would most go for. But we have a bit of all in us. Sometimes we like gifts, sometimes we like hugs, sometimes we like one-to-one time. It depends. Yeah.
Sure. I don't think anyone's got any questions. Has anybody got any questions? I think you've explained it really well and really simplified it as well, made it really easy.
Great, fantastic. I think we're coming to an end now anyway for this session.
So thank you so much for everyone joining in. We will share the recording in the ICRA Library WhatsApp group and also on the ICRA Library YouTube channel. Please do have a chance, when you get a chance, re-listen to it as well, go through these questions as well. And as Sabika said, it is really important to get to know yourself. And hopefully by knowing yourself, you'll get into deeper as well, and we'll be able to do the reparenting as well. So thank you so much to everyone, and thank you so much to Sabika for a wonderful session, and we'll see you soon. Enjoy the spring. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. See you.
See you.